Welcome to the podcast. Jim, thank you for being here today. Today, we are going to talk about the benefits of finding your authentic voice. I'm in my office. I still have not gotten the light that goes above the camera right there. So my apologies if it looks a little darker. I'm working on it. I'm not a huge tech guy. I run a tech company. I just can't seem to get the lighting figured out. But that's a story for a different day. But today, we are going to talk about the benefits of finding your authentic voice. I actually wrote an open letter about this because I was thinking about this the other day, because I'm always tied when I see companies or people, coaches, whoever doing whatever they're doing. I'm always wondering, like, why do they do it? Why is it important to them? Why do they choose this work? And I'm going to get into a little bit of why I chose Speakeasy and why I do this work in a little bit. But I think right now, especially in the day and age that we live in and the way the world is right now, finding your authentic voice is so insanely important. The world really needs you to find your voice, to speak out, speak up. And that's really something that's super important right now. And really learning how to find your authentic voice, it's definitely not easy. Might be one of the hardest things you'll ever learn in your life, but it's definitely worth it. It's like public speaking. It's really difficult to be a good public speaker, but it's in many ways, it's people's number one fear. Most people are more afraid of public speaking than they are of dying, which is amazing. Again, that's not easy, but it's something that's really worth it. And I want to talk a little bit about the benefits of actually finding your authentic voice in a couple of different areas of your life and how they will affect. I truly believe it'll affect every aspect of your life, but from a career perspective and a social perspective, when you have your inner voice, your inner authentic voice, and you're really comfortable with who you are and your authentic voice, and you'll become an amazing speaker, you'll no longer fear work presentations or meetings or roundtables, professional conferences. You'll be able to go into work, whatever you do, whatever career you're in, and feel very comfortable that at any moment you can give a rousing speech, an entertaining speech, an insightful speech, an inspiring speech or presentation. You won't have that fear. You won't sit around a conference room thinking, oh shit, what happens if they call on me? Or, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do if someone questions something I'm doing? That sort of scared deer in the headlights fear. You just don't have that anymore. Your career will become a lot less anxious and will probably get promoted faster, and you'll enjoy career advancement much faster when you do have an authentic voice. Socially, you'll be able to handle social events, weddings, happy hours, any groups, birthday parties that you're in with ease. When you have your authentic voice, you'll be able to handle those things remarkably. You won't get out of events or you'll be able to go into events knowing that you're comfortable in your own skin and that you're going to be fine there, and you won't not RSVP to some events because you're afraid of going or afraid of talking. It'll just make your life a lot easier in that sense. The other nice thing about when you have your authentic voice is you'll have confidence because you'll be able to be your authentic self. You won't need validation for anybody, and you won't fear rejection or ridicule because you're comfortable in your own skin. One of the lovely things I think about when you do find your authentic voice is that you'll own every room that you walk into. Every room you walk into, people are going to look to you for answers, support, and comfort. And I think a lot of times people don't think of those things, that your authentic voice also means that you are somewhat seen as a leader wherever you go. It's pretty cool. You also won't be afraid to speak up or speak out at work, which is awesome. Your career will advance more rapidly, as we said. You'll be more comfortable in social situations, and you'll probably enjoy better relationships because you're being authentic and you're really being true to who you are. That's one of the best things I think about this, is because when I work with people, sometimes I'll hear that they'll say, I don't want to date, or I don't want to take my relationship to the next level because I'm not comfortable with who I am. And so they miss out on opportunities. They miss out on meeting great people. They miss out on great friendships because they're not comfortable being authentic. And once we get them to the point of being truly authentic in who they are and comfortable in their own skin and confident, it just changes the whole world for them. Not just at work, which is important, but in their social situations. They go to parties, they meet people, they're comfortable in whatever the situation is. And that's really what I hope for you, is that you're able to do that. But that's one of the huge benefits of finding your authentic voice, is you're able to do those things. You'll live a life that's you'll have less anxiety, less fear, and a lot more confidence. These are all things that can be huge for you when you do find your authentic voice. And I want to say, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a different tangent here. I'm going to tell you why I have chosen to be a public speaking coach and to help people with confidence and to helping people find their authentic voice. I think there are two different types of coaches in the world. People who are specific to tactics of something. So you want to be a good speaking coach, keep your shoulders back, speak louder. Here's how you write a speech. A very tactical piece of it. I'm much more interested in the strategic and the emotional piece of it and fostering real change in someone by helping them find their authentic voice, because I think that's way more empowering and it's way longer lasting than just telling you like, hey, picture everyone in the audience naked, which again, I also think is some of the worst advice you could ever get, but it's one of the things that, like I said. So yeah, I want to tell you a little bit about my story and how I got to this place, because I wasn't always a good speaker. I was not always someone who felt comfortable in social situations and in group situations. So for me, it started in late middle school and early high school. Up until that point, I'd been a pretty happy kid, good, pretty decent childhood, pretty basic, pretty middle class. But once I got to late middle school, early high school, I was sexually abused by my uncle on a pretty regular basis for those years. And that horror really changed me from being a happy kid to being somebody who was fearful, very anxious, very much filled with shame and dread. I remember that because the abuse often happened in the afternoon after school, afternoon sunlight has always been a trigger in my life. And until I really got into some therapy, I never really knew why. But when the afternoon sun comes out, I just feel this sense of, oh shit, what's happening now? And I didn't really realize that until I'd been in therapy of what that was like. And I still have PTSD moments where I track back to that and think of the terrible things that were happening. Anyway, and during that time, which I've largely blacked out, any memories or whatever, I really felt I didn't matter and that I wasn't worth shit. I felt that like, how could this be happening to me if I was a good person? How could God let this happen to me? So I must be a piece of crap if this was happening. Every day for me was filled with dread, wondering if it was going to happen that day after school. And I think one of the worst times in my life, I'm looking at my notes here because I wrote some notes down about this. I went to high school in Providence, Rhode Island, and I used to take the bus, take 2 buses to get home because I lived about 25 minutes away. So I was walking through downtown Providence, Rhode Island, which back really nice now, but back when I went to high school, it was, nice. And it was darker, so I was getting on the bus. It was like we get late afternoon, weird sunset time like I was talking about before, and buses are like flying all around me and like different happening. And I was walking, I was really worried about the abuse possibly happening later that day. And I was thinking, Jesus, if I just step out in front of one of these buses just whizzing by, it'll all be over. Like, it'll all be over and my uncle won't be able to hurt me anymore. And because I just at that point just didn't give a shit whether I lived or not. And luckily, very lucky, I did not take that step. I didn't do that. And it really took me a long time, but eventually I largely beat the anxiety. I beat the fear, released the shame, took some therapy, took some coaching. I had a lot of people helping me. I was lucky to have a lot of people in my corner. And along the way, quite honestly, I found my voice. I found my authentic self. I began speaking in public. And like I said, like lots of people helped me get through this and become the person I am today, which I'm very happy about. So for me, this is really personal work. So this helping people get through anxiety, social anxiety, and helping them get over trauma and helping them become great speakers and really finding their authentic voice is really personal for me. I take it really seriously. It's really about helping people, helping you breathe deep and really become the real you that's really dying to get out. It's something that is super, super to me. And so that's why I started this. That's like, again, I really believe that where we are in the world right now, the world really needs you to find your authentic voice. The world needs you to speak up, to speak out, and really to become the best and most authentic version of yourself possible. The time to find that voice really is now. It's not tomorrow. It's not next week. It's not next year. The world needs you now. And like I said before, there are so many benefits to finding your authentic voice that are outside of public speaking that have nothing to do with public speaking and being comfortable and being able to handle social anxiety, being able to go into different groups and different social situations, different career situations, just having that level of being comfortable and confident in who you are and not worried about feeling rejected, not worried about feeling imposter syndrome, being seen as a leader. All of these things are these awesome benefits of finding your authentic voice. We'll talk more about how you find it, but I wanted to today to take some time to talk about the benefits of finding your authentic voice and really to share my story, like where I'm from in messaging that I do and why this work is so important to me. So thank you for indulging me. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a fantastic day.